came across in the classroom, Dr. Travis put in my heart a desire to know God through His Word. And that's what we're trying to do on Exploring the Word.
Exploring the Word, weekday afternoons at 3 Central on American Family Radio. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. Vice President J.D. Vance visiting Pope Francis at the Vatican on Sunday, just one day before the Pope passed away at the age of 88. Alexandria Hoff has more from the White House.
As for the vice president's meeting yesterday, it was brief but impactful. Vice President Vance, he converted to Catholicism in 2019, making him the highest-ranking Catholic official. He posted this morning on the Pope's passing, quote, "I just learned of the passing of Pope Francis. My heart goes out to millions of Christians all over the world who loved him. I was happy to see him yesterday, though he was obviously very ill."
The New York Times is reporting that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth created another signal messaging chat that included his wife and brother, where he shared similar details of a March military airstrike against Yemen's Houthi terrorists that were sent in another chain with top Trump administration leaders. But a few minutes ago on the South Lawn of the White House, Hegseth called this latest report false.
A few leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out from the same media that peddled the Russia hoax. Won't get back their Pulitzers. They got Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. And on hoaxes, time and time and time again. And as they peddle those lies, no one ever calls them on it.
Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen visited El Salvador last week to push for the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the illegal alien and MS-13 gang member who was deported. Democrats say he was denied due process rights and are calling for his return to the U.S. But White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says that's not happening.
Shame on Senator Chris Van Hollen and the entire Democrat Party, who wasted Easter Sunday going on every television show in the country to advocate for the return of an illegal criminal gang member.
Oil prices drop as the U.S. continues its talks with Iran over a potential nuclear deal. Laura Cantor reports.
Those talks appear to be moving in a positive direction. However, oil prices falling over 2% amid tariff uncertainty. Investors are concerned that higher tariffs could lower demand for fuel, as consumers are less likely to spend money on travel. The Easter holiday also attributing to the drop in oil prices, as well as President Trump's criticism over the Federal Reserve. The U.S. last week placed additional sanctions against a Chinese independent oil refinery that was allegedly processing Iranian crude oil. Laura Cantor, Fox News.
There has been another change in the El Niño-La Niña climate phenomenon. Robert Thornton has more on possible effects to the upcoming hurricane season.
NOAA recently released an update on El Niño Southern Oscillation, or ENSO. The National Weather Service defines ENSO as a recurring climate pattern with changes in the temperature of the central and eastern tropical Pacific, with the water either getting warmer or cooler. El Niño and La Niña are extreme phases of the ENSO cycle. Between the two phases is a neutral phase, and this, according to NOAA, is where we are now and will be through the summer with a greater than 50% chance of it in August through October. ENSO affects weather across the world and in the U.S. Colorado State researchers look for above-normal activity this hurricane season and believe a warmer Atlantic Ocean combined with ENSO neutral or a potential La Niña will be more favorable for the storms. Climatologist David Legates of the Cornwall Alliance says when a La Niña is present, it favors more storms, but an El Niño is different.
If you want to build a storm, you want to have the air moving straight up so that the storm can develop. If you want to get rid of the hurricane, you want winds at the upper level in a different direction, essentially to tear the tower apart. So as it starts to build from the moisture below, it literally gets ripped apart.
He said he doesn't think forecasts for accurate ENSO phase changes will ever happen due to the chaotic atmosphere.
The upper atmosphere doesn't necessarily always do what you think it's going to do. And the hurricanes don't necessarily respond in that same way either. It's one of those things. Correlation says it's more likely to happen when this occurs, but it's never a given.
NOAA releases its 2025 hurricane outlook in May. I'm Robert Thornton.
The S&P 500 was 1.2% lower in early trading. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 430 points, and the Nasdaq Composite was 1.5% lower. More news online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty P.
In Denver, Colorado, Jamie Sanchez obeyed the Lord's call and opened the Drip Cafe to create jobs to help unhoused people get back on their feet. Of course, the LGBTQ community began persecuting him for his Christian beliefs. His inspiring story of standing boldly for God's truth in the face of great opposition is part of our Impact series, and we'll send you the DVD as our thanks for your gift to AFA. Visit afa.net/spiritual war. afa.net/spiritual war.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on this Monday, April the 21st, 2025. Thank you for listening to this radio program and to American Family Radio. In the studio with me today, Ed Vitagliano. Good morning, Brother Ed.
Good morning, Tim.
And Chris Woodward.
Good morning.
That's it, people. Just three. That's it. You got one third of a brain.
Or we got three brains, and it's triple the brain power.
And we're going to bring it.
Oh, we're bringing it.
We're bringing it today. So today is the day after Easter, and around the world yesterday, Ed?
Yes.
You said Christians all over the world celebrated yesterday.
Yes, this is, there is sometimes a disagreement amongst Christians on which day should be considered Easter between Western Christians and Eastern Christians, so Eastern Orthodox, and then Catholic and Protestant. And it has to do with how you determine how many days after this, and the spring equinox, and all sorts of things. And I used to know it, but I don't know it anymore. Anyway, yesterday was Easter for everybody. I don't think there were any exceptions to that. So both Eastern and Western Christians celebrated the resurrection on the same day. Mm-hmm. So that's
Amen.
That doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes it does.
So the Pope passed away, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the leading international story right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about it. We're looking at least 4 networks that are talking about it. This will be the story throughout much of the day because, if you've not heard yet, Pope Francis passed away at the age of 88. He was the first Latin American pontiff, meaning the first pope from that part of the world. He passed away at the age of 88. Fox is doing live coverage. This has pretty much been the story